In and out won't go. Rebound. Bearcats have upset the number 5 ranked parents of Whitworth University. Out to Eaglesmith. 2 ball or 3. Give it 3. This is stolen away by Watts. He'll take it up and lay it up and down, and Watts extends the lead.
Bearcat Hoop, Where Are They Now audio series. As everybody that listens out there, Bearcat Hoop fans and family, you guys, we usually catch up with alumni, past players from the program with what they're doing on these Wednesdays. But this is a better, even cooler Where Are They Now, because this is an introduction to a new family member. Coach Chris Horton is joining our staff, replacing Coach Colville, who's on to bigger and better things at the University of Montana. So I wanted to get Coach Chris on here to introduce him to everybody, kind of have him tell his story, and go from there. As you know, as we shotgun him into the realm of our college hoops out here in the Northwest Conference. Coach, how you doing?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. How are you?
You are coming all the way. I don't know, Bearcats, I must recruit Florida well, because you're the second Floridian joining the staff. Coach Jonathan Willis was here for 4 years, so Coach is coming to us. I know you flew out of Fort Lauderdale, but you're Plantation, Georgia, is that right?
Yeah, Plantation, Florida. I'm about 15 minutes from Fort Lauderdale, so quick shot to the beach in downtown.
There you go. So I don't think we can offer that here in Salem, Coach. I know you saw that out here. It's going to be a little longer to the beach.
Yeah, a little bit. It's going to be a little bit different, but I'll take it.
So, Coach, we had, he's going to be our full-time assistant. We had a great application pool, for us to get for Coach to come out of that as the guy we picked. We had over 80 applicants nationwide. Really humbling experience for myself, Coach McCray, Coach McCormick, seeing that many people interested in doing what we do for a living. So, that was great, and Coach really stood out in a lot of different areas, which I think will come through in our talk with him today on why we ended up choosing him. But, Coach, let's go biography, background first. Take folks through where you were born, how you, kind of your little, early life stories into your first, I got into coaching this way. Go ahead. I'll let you take over for a while.
Gotcha. All right, so there's a little bit that happens here. So I was born in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. My dad was an executive, a corporate executive, so we kind of bounced around for a little bit. So I went Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Colorado.
Holy cow.
Before getting to Florida in 3rd grade. So that was a lot of moving when I was young. Yeah, so and that kind of helped shape some parts of my personality and just being adjustable and adaptable. And my mom was a teacher, so we have parents who were leaders. So I think that helped me also. Once I was in Florida, played a bunch of sports growing up. Went to one of the largest high schools in the country. Largest graduating class in the history of North America at the time. I don't know if that's still the case.
What school was that, Coach?
Cypress Bay High in Weston, Florida.
And how big was the Guinness class you just described?
Over 1,700 kids.
Oh my God!
Yes, the most miserable graduation you will ever experience in your life.
How long were you waiting? Oh my!
I think it was like 4.5 hours. It was ridiculous.
So many names.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you a quick story about that. So we did it in the Hurricanes basketball stadium.
Oh wow!
And we're all sitting below everyone. All the parents are up in the stands above us.
Yeah.
The ceremony is taking so long, for 4.5 hours. So at one point, a parent ordered a pizza for her daughter and threw it, frisbeed the pizza down about 20 feet just to where we were sitting. Thuds, hits the ground. The girl gets up from the middle of her row. Excuse me, pardon me, excuse me. Goes and gets her pizza. Excuse me, pardon me. And then just comes and sits 2 rows behind me and just eats a pizza.
Right, the rest of you 1,700 were the idiots.
Else is miserable and cranky. Yeah, it was a production.
That's unbelievable. Keep going.
Yeah, so had a great time in high school. Went to University of Florida, not thinking that I would work in basketball. I was more geared toward business. Major in entrepreneurship, major in business management, minor in entrepreneurship. Graduated, became a sales manager for Macy's. Love leading people, love working with people, getting my people promoted. But I knew I didn't want to sell watches and housewares and whatever else, and work on Christmas and Thanksgiving and Black Friday. It wasn't for me. So I was able to look around and see, what do I want to do? I'd love to get back into basketball. I love leadership. Maybe I can coach. What does that look like for me? And what it looked like initially was, well, you're not going to make any money when you start. So I said, okay.
Of course, right.
Yeah, so let me save up some money. How do I live for a year if I have to work for free? So I saved money until I just couldn't stand working anymore. And then I left. Was fortunate enough to meet my current boss, James Taylor, who gave me an opportunity to shadow him and work under his wing. And I worked for free and coached for free for about a year. That was my first taste in training and really coaching, at a level and being around, different players and getting exposure to a bunch of games.
What age groups did you start with, Coach? And talk a little bit about Coach Taylor's organization.
Absolutely. Great question. So my first group, and the fondness in my heart forever, I had a third grade group.
That's a great age.
Yeah. So, and they were just losing a bunch of games, and then I got there and we kind of just changed how we played, pushed some tempo, played with some pressure. And we didn't win a lot of games, but we won enough that the kids were happy and thrilled, and I'm still have relationships with those kids and those parents.
Yeah.
And that was for an organization called Tailored Athletes Basketball. So Tailored Athletes were a full-service basketball company doing training, camps, travel basketball and things, a White House honored organization led by the aforementioned James Taylor.
Gotcha. That's funny you mentioned the third graders, because I think, like, growing up, my dad was a high school basketball coach, but I never envisioned myself doing it. But it was at a basketball camp, pro hoop camp here at Willamette. I want to say I had fourth graders. But the first time, that was my first coaching experience, and I know they ran a ball screen correctly, and we actually got a shot off. I don't think we made the shot, but that moment, that feeling was like, this is cool. I could see myself helping. So it sounds like, similar. The younger kids, still with the joy of the game, kind of caught the fire for both of us.
Absolutely. They sprint into the gym. They have no ego. They just want to play hard and learn stuff. So
right.
That's a great place to start, and it really helps your communication skills, because you have to teach foundational things at a very intense level. So I think that was great for me.
Okay, keep going. Do your progression from there.
Yeah, so I was able to do that for a while. I was fortunate enough to kind of stumble upon an opportunity in the ABA. And the initial position, I believe, was stats something, basically like an SID.
Okay.
And the more and more that I would speak to this owner over the course of the hiring process, he was like, I think you could do more. And he would just pick my brain over certain things. Mm-hmm. And we had just great conversations for weeks going back and forth. And he's like, hey, do you want to be the general manager of our team? And I was like, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, that would be cool. I definitely would take that.
Yeah. What team was that, Coach? Let everybody know.
That was the Texas Skyriders in the American Basketball Association. So I relocated from Florida I lived in Waco, Texas. Our team played in Temple, Texas.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was a great experience for me. They were a semi-pro team prior to me getting there. They were transitioning to professional. So for me as a general manager, I kind of had a hand in everything.
Yeah.
Like from logo design to jersey design, all of our marketing, picking players, obviously. So it was like the basketball business experience of my short lifetime. I think I was 24 at the time.
And was there a hey, Coach, this is the how-to guide to be a GM, or were you learning and figuring it out on the go?
There was no guide at all. I was just, we have to do that. Okay. All right. Yeah. And my previous sales manager experience helped me a little bit, just like business basics and foundational things.
Yeah.
But I was, everything was brand new, and just new situations, opportunities, and problems would pop up on a daily basis. But I loved that.
Yeah. Yeah. Problem solving on the go, figure it out for sure. Which is kind of like the game, Our games, as coaches, we love to imagine that the game plan's going to play out exactly as we all draw it, and it never does.
Never.
So existing in chaos is probably a strength, I'd imagine.
Absolutely. And I have two major regrets from that situation. The first regret was I didn't keep enough notes to write a book because there were so many crazy things that would happen all the time. and two, I actually had my laptop stolen while I was there. So I lost like a bunch of work that I really, really loved and like wanted to keep for a long time.
Was that out of the office on a road trip? How did it happen?
I was doing a 6 a.m. workout with our point guard, which we would do all the time, and then to pay me, he would treat me to McDonald's after. Yeah. So we were at McDonald's, and I was like getting out of my car. I had a laptop bag, and I just put it in my passenger seat, and I guess I just didn't lock the door, and someone saw, oh, he's got a laptop bag.
Right.
I just got in there and took it out. Weren't able to find it.
I'd imagine that was the last time you left the laptop in plain view.
Oh my goodness! In my trunk, religiously, doors locked until I can't stand the beeping anymore.
Right. So take us from how many years in the ABA, and then take me through the next transition.
Gotcha. So I did one season there. Unfortunately, we had some chaos with ownership, where one of the owners actually had some legal issues. I had to detach myself from that. And I came back. I was fortunate enough that James Taylor still wanted me to work and do some things for him. So I coached. I went back to coaching travel basketball. Was also fortunate enough to get the post as assistant national director with USSSA basketball because James Taylor took over a national directorship. Mm-hmm. So new responsibilities for all of us hosting basketball tournaments and other events. So that kind of showed me another side of the game and connected me to some more coaches and just to see different athletes from all over the place. So really cool opportunity for me. And then from there, it was just all about growth. Like I continued, I have a website, HortonBasketball.com, where I was, challenging myself to do a lot of analytics stuff and kind of learn the game and articulate the game in different ways. So I continued that for a while, and I was just juggling a bunch of different hats. Mm-hmm. And then I was fortunate enough to become the coach of a school. So I was doing travel basketball coaching. I was coaching a school, and I was coaching multiple travel basketball teams. So I think, I was probably coaching like 150 to 175 games a year. My
goodness, that's a lot of reps.
Yeah,
that's a lot of reps.
Yeah, absolutely, and it was, super beneficial because you start to see patterns in games. Like, oh, I've seen this.
Yeah,
like I've been in a game exactly like this. I know how to handle it.
Yeah. And there's really no way to prepare for that until you're in the fire. Like you would like to say, oh, no, we do special situations. Well, everybody tries, but you've never been there where it's like, we just missed that free throw. How in God's name could that happen? But now you've got enough reps in it that's a possibility in your brain that you probably didn't, that you excluded before as a younger coach.
Exactly. It was super beneficial, and then I was kind of able to experiment with our teams from culture standpoints too. What if I do this with this team? What if I do this with another team? What do I like? What do players respond to? So it like really accelerated my growth where I feel like I was able to coach like 3 seasons in one season or 4 seasons in one season.
How, just in life-wise, is that where I think one of the things that stood out that you and I connected on is organization and time management. I'm imagining that's where you had to have crafted some of these skills because that many teams, that many games, that many jobs, even for those of us that like spreadsheets and schedules, that's still a lot.
Heck yeah, definitely. That was definitely a crash course in that just because I was juggling so much at the time. And I've always been a big goal setter, so like long-term goals, but also like I have an agenda that I still use, like I'm a sixth grader. Like in my agenda every day, what do I need to get done?
Right.
So that kind of keeps me on track also.
Right.
So that's always been a big part of my life, and I think I have some people that would live near me and live around me. So I have a little bit of OCD too. So I think that.
Well, you're on the right staff because we specialize in that.
Oh, perfect. Match made in heaven.
Right. Tell me now. Okay, so from that, how did you wind up getting your first experience D3 coaching?
So it's kind of just networking, exploring, applying for different things. You always hear that it's just so hard to break in.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to give myself every opportunity I could, apply for everything I saw. And I was able to finally get someone that would talk to me and have an interview, and the interviews went well, and I was able to get a position at Dean College in Massachusetts. So I had to pack up my winter coats, which I don't have, and move to Massachusetts.
And where is that not that I'm an expert in geography and the Massachusetts geography. I'm obviously, most people are like, where's that compared to Boston?
It's an hour south of Boston, about 15 minutes north of the Rhode Island border.
Gotcha. Keep going. So you got to Coach Cabral, right? Rico Cabral?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Rico, Joe, and Coach Eric Chipman. And I'll be forever thankful for them for giving me, that great opportunity to be at that level. I'd coached trained college level players before, and even pro players at that point. But to be at the college level every day was something that was great for me to see. And one of the things that I like about the Division III level is, less resources means more opportunities for you to learn.
Right. So
I think it was great for me to continue to do player development stuff, skill development stuff, but also see recruiting and just how the business works on a day-to-day basis. So,
right. I think that's a great spin. We should probably get you at a clinic, because there's about right around February, March, most of us D3 coaches are like, we don't have X, we don't have Y, but you're 100% right. That just leads into, how do we create it for ourselves? How do we go find the solution for ourselves? Because it's not as easy as, we'll just get a check from the boss and we'll buy it.
No.
Because that's not going to work. So I really like that mentality of, we're going to have to figure it out ourselves, and it's still a possibility. It's going to take a little brain work. So keep going.
Absolutely, and I think that's one of the things that you and I connected on throughout this process was, how can we learn more? How can we improve on the things that we're already doing? How do we continue to grow as people and as leaders? So, the D3 levels is a great proving ground for that.
For us, I know during the interview process, one of the areas that we felt we got feedback from the players, you got to meet with 4 or 5 of our guys, the finalists on campus all did. And what were your takeaways from that group just in general? And what got you excited about coming out here with us?
Super genuine group of young men who care and are passionate about not only what they do on the court, but what they do off the court. Their clear commitment to teams of men and all being on the same page in terms of what they believe and what they look for, and the stories they were able to tell about how they've changed since they've been here. I think Josh Stubbs was a great example of a kid who hasn't got to play a lot because of injuries, but speaks so highly of his time here because how he was able to grow as a young man. And that really stood out to me. So, I was very happy to have that time. I was very happy that they were part of that process. Yeah. Because, they're why we're here.
Right. Exactly.
We're not here without them. So I thought that was great, and I've never been a part of an interview process where players are given such a great voice. So that was refreshing.
What would you say, not speaking directly to, hey, here's how I convinced Kip, but what would you give other young coaches out there that might be listening? Like you mentioned, it is very hard to get into our business. Like I said before, we had to funnel, 80 guys down to yourself. That's a lot of people that want to do the job. Any tips or things that you think have helped you go from the guy on the outside to a guy on the inside now?
A couple of things. I would say, prepare yourself. So if you have the opportunity to learn, different aspects of the game, whether that's, scouting, analytics, drawing up plays, training people. You never know what people are going to look for. So give yourself every opportunity to learn and grow so you're comfortable in multiple areas. And then I would say the second thing is just be authentic. Be who you are. So much of your success and your happiness is going to be based on fit. And interviews are not only an opportunity for the employer to find you and to decide if they like you, but it's also an opportunity for you as the potential employee to decide if you like your employer.
Yep.
Is this going to fit for me?
Right.
Is this something that makes sense?
Right.
So you can only find that if you're authentic to yourself.
Yep.
And really, okay, I think I'm going to get along with this guy. I think, we kind of share some of the same values. So staying true to yourself, that's more important than the opportunity. If you keep, searching for opportunities and turning over enough rocks, you'll find some opportunities.
Yep.
But just be authentic in who you are.
What can, not just family members of the current players, our alumni, our fans, what can, if they came to a practice, how will they see your approach to coaching?
They would see a coach that cares a lot. So, I can be different with different players. I can be your biggest hype man. That's one of my favorite things to do, is just to go crazy over good things for players and, kind of be bouncing off the walls and yelling. But I'll also, just as quickly pull a player aside. Maybe they don't like public praise, and I give them praise on the side. Maybe I can redirect them on the side as well. But just having an eye out for your athlete so we can, hone different things, different parts of their game when they're on the basketball court. Off the court, same thing. Always open. I still talk to, players from last year, players I mentioned from that third grade team that I coached. I still talk to those guys. My point guard that I mentioned earlier, who we did the 6 a.m.s together before my laptop was stolen. I was a groomsman in his wedding. So, those relationships never stop for me. I just love people, and I love to see people continue to grow. So that's a passion that's not going to change.
And I think, once again, you mentioned earlier, talking about the authenticity of being yourself. That was our goal in the interview process, was to find somebody that really fit. We didn't want to be in a position where we had to teach somebody else the values we have, and I think it's shown through in your process throughout. And we had, a lot of the candidates were similar, but your buy-in to exactly what you just mentioned, which is what, our program's based on, is building men, creating that second family, and then leaving that legacy of those relationships and continuing on with them. So I know we're excited. The guys are excited, to add you into that mix already. The biggest hurdles now, this is all structurally, how are you getting from Florida to Oregon, Coach? How are we doing this? Are we driving? Are we taking a boat? What are we doing?
Oh, my God. If you know anybody with a private jet, I would love to do that. Oh, man. So I'll probably have to get my car shipped.
We've been through
my
that.
car is leased, so I can't drive it. I don't know how many miles. It's a million or so miles. That'll kill my lease. So I have to get that shipped. Then I have to find a place to live. I haven't done that yet. I've been making phone calls. That
might have to be a whole
part.
Yes, right. But you're I feel like you're a veteran at this with all the states you've been through.
I am.
If anybody can solve this riddle.
It's true. One of the things when I was younger, I always would look up to people like, oh my God, he has a guy for that. He has a guy for that. He's got a suit guy. He's got a car. I have a car transport guy.
That's
because
amazing.
I've done this so much, and it's crazy to me.
That is awesome. We might have to make it, when you get out here, we'll let Coach Horton take over Thursdays, just Florida to Oregon transition. And you can just go on our social media platforms and tell people, you know what you Oregonians do that's really strange to me, and we'll just let it fly, and then we'll teach you on the other end too, especially when the rain hits.
Absolutely. You already started talking to me about the coffee thing. I didn't know they had turf wars over coffee.
No, it's Dutch Bros and Starbucks. Pick a side. Pick a side.
It's tough already. I gotta be careful.
It is, and then you got to factor in your office mate here. Myself is a lunatic loyalist for Starbucks, you got to factor that in. I mean, there's so many moving pieces.
Yeah, I gotta lay low. I don't know if I can wear green, or I don't know what I have to wear.
I know. Hey, everybody out there, Bearcat Hoop, Where Are They Now audio series. Coach Chris Horton joining the staff. When you're listening to this, hopefully by the time it's posted, we've got him out here officially. His car survived the transport, and excited to get it. We'll keep having him on, especially as the season goes, with our guys, our players. You guys know how we like to keep, as much content headed your way as we can, not just box scores. Bearcat Hoop audio series.
Drive and dribble, watch, double clutches, left side Barber for 3. Here's Sutton, great move to the hoop, spun, and he just schooled his defender.